I am so excited to welcome the Warren Treaty to Pure Country. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Super good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. You guys are pretty much gone, I feel like, almost all of this year on the road. When do you guys get moments to be home? Because I feel like you're going out with Orville Peck, you've got Chris Stapleton, you're going to be with the Rolling Stones.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
We get to go home.
We have to go home
You get to
tomorrow.
Okay,
yeah.
good. So you
For
did
a couple days.
A little bit of break.
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like for you guys when you get off the road?
Well, now it looks like our house being reconstructed because we had 2 floods while we've been out on the road. Oh, no. So when we get that's what it looks like. It's mad chaos when we get home. But
it always looks like my bedroom to me.
he stays in the bed.
That's right.
How I unwind is I clean everything in the house.
That's my girl.
I redo everything. I am outside just doing stuff I shouldn't be doing. I work from like 5 a.m. until 11 and I pass out.
Like painting our car with house paint.
Yeah, I find projects. Like, it's hilarious.
That.
I have to.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But
Well,
never paint your car with house paint.
Yeah.
No.
I'm a future housewife in the making.
Good to know that you don't paint the car with house paint.
No, you don't
It
do
doesn't
that.
work?
No, it doesn't.
No, it
doesn't
doesn't.
work.
That was our first. Well, let me tell you the joke about that. So it was green, and we were
Must
touring, and we were homeless, and we were poor. So I was like, well, I see all these people showing up in these black SUVs.
Yeah.
Why not just paint our little turtle top van
Yeah, why not?
black, and it looks like we are a band? Yeah. But we look like we were in the Scooby-Doo van showing up in house paint. Yeah, it was crazy.
All right. Well, you learn as you trial and error.
No,
Yeah.
she hasn't learned.
She hasn't learned. Okay. Well, I'm excited. Please share what you get into when you get to go home. What project you're going to take on next.
Yeah.
I want to
Help.
see.
I'll send it to
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Good Lord.
I have to congratulate you guys because you just found out Hey Driver is officially platinum.
Yes, it's official. Thank you so much to
Yipper.
So
Zach
cool.
Bryan for
That
having
is
us.
awesome. And
It's not Zach's song. It's my song.
it's your song.
He told him
I mean, at
that.
the beginning of it, it says it's your song.
Yeah, he tells him
Michael
that.
Trotter Jr.
There's a reason for
My
that.
full government name.
Yeah.
That's your song.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
What does it with Zach, like the craze that is surrounding him, and he's got a new album coming out. You guys are dropping new music, but what is that friendship like? Are you guys still collaborating on music at all, or?
Zach is an interesting character because no, we're not collaborating.
We're
But
touring with him, though.
We do
Yes.
tour and we do talk, you know, often, pretty much. But he's in the moment, you know, and he's in his moment, and he has all these ideas that he's going to get out. And I like to believe that his sweet mama is up there in heaven making it happen.
Yeah.
So I know that we'll create again. You know, there's chatter. We've been talking about it a lot. But as for now, you know, we just collab on stage.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't. Speaking of really good ideas, I have an idea. I feel that you two and Morgan and Chris Stapleton probably need to do some sort of husband-wife
We talked
super
about
band.
that. We talked about it. We
Okay.
did the Jennifer Hudson show and Chris had us come on there with him. And I'm like whispering to Morgan, I'm like, what are we doing? She was like, I know. Why aren't we doing this all the time? So,
I'm just
you know,
putting it out there.
She was like, we owe you one. So, yeah, Morgan and Chris, we're going to get you on
We'll
that
see.
offer.
We'll
yeah.
see. Okay.
They owe us one.
Yeah, they do.
I like to manifest on the show,
Let's do
so
it.
that is my
My
manifestation
girl.
for this year. I'm like, let's go. What would be your manifest for the Warren Treaty 2024,
Oh, let me think.
other than a Chris Stapleton and Morgan Stapleton collab?
You mean music collab?
Whatever. Yeah,
Oh, manifest. Let's see.
we got to put it out
Wow.
in the world, and then we'll come back maybe in a couple months.
When it comes, I'm putting it right out.
Go ahead.
Just completely.
Let's go.
Go.
I love Coldplay.
Yes.
I love Coldplay.
Please.
I would love to do, well, this is going to have to be 2025.
Okay.
But a UK Canadian tour where we spend 5 months just over here just building.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the
Yeah.
sounds of that. Coldplay. I mean, they're releasing new music. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
hey guys,
I
if
know.
you're listening,
we're available.
I like to manifest Michelle Obama as president.
also
Uh-oh.
like that.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a great
Okay.
one.
Holy smokes.
Well, let's just we'll follow up on this,
Yeah.
in a little bit and
see
see
what
where we're at with these manifests. I do want to talk to you guys about covering Chris Stapleton at the ACM Honors, because there are certain artists out there that most people would say, I don't know if I want to take on singing their song, but I feel like, I don't know whose idea it was for you guys to cover Chris Stapleton, but they were probably like,
it was his idea.
See, he was like, if anyone can do it,
it was him.
They can do it.
Or he was like, yeah, you think they can do it. Watch this.
Oh, but they can, because it was breathtaking. I was listening to it on my way in, and I had goosebumps driving, because it's just, the two of you is magic.
Thank you.
Wow, he must have been so honored.
Well, I feel the difference maker is always going to be Tanya. I mean, Chris and I's timbre very similar. You know, we're graggly, and you know, but when you add a Tanya into the mix, it's like, okay, who brought Aretha, Whitney, and Tina here?
No,
it's not fair, you know. But to be able to build with Chris and to be able to have that relationship and to be able to honor him, you know, he's being honored again this year. Was a dream come true, you know, and I'm very proud of that moment.
Yeah, it was amazing. And so many people say working, like mixing personal life and work life together can be really tricky. What do you think is the secret sauce that makes the Warren Treaty work so well together? Because is it 10 years this
it's
year?
10 years, yeah.
10 years.
We get on each other's nerves, but we love each other the same way. You know, I think that we're honest in every emotion that we have with each other. We do get on each other's nerves. He don't sugarcoat it. I got on his nerve this morning, just this morning.
Yeah.
But don't speak for me.
You know, and I think
don't woman-splain me.
I'm woman-splaining him.
Yeah.
He's usually mansplaining.
That's okay. We
But
do that as wives.
Yes,
We're allowed to do that.
But I think that's the beauty of the Warren Treaty. It's the balance of life.
Yeah.
It can't always be flowers and roses, but we don't have drag out ugly fights. We know how to.
Yes, we do.
We do not. We have. I tell my son we're having intelligent disagreements.
I like that. I'm going to use
know,
that with my
we're
husband
having
now.
an
This is just a very intelligent disagreement.
You know,
Sure.
it's having emotional intelligence. And I think that's
I plead fifth.
the highest part in knowing how to come back and say, I was wrong, or your idea was right.
You have to allow each other to be the person you fell in love with.
Yeah.
The good, the bad, the ugly, period. You have to allow that person to be who you fell in love with.
Yeah.
It's important to keep that in mind. You're not just talking to some stranger. You're not talking to some joker. You're dealing with someone who you said I do to, you know, who has pledged their life to you. You've pledged your life to them.
Yeah.
That is extremely important. It's the most important decision next to deciding to have a child that you will ever make.
Yeah.
And I feel that most marriages fail when it's one-sided, when someone always believes that the other has to change, or they're always trying to change the other and not realizing, like, listen, you fell in love with that person. Stop it. Grow together. You know what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that you can't disagree. I think that it's important to argue. I think it's unhealthy to fight. There is a big difference.
Yes.
You know,
sure.
Arguing is healthy, debating is healthy, fighting is ugly, and it doesn't need to happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's why you just have intelligent
That's it.
disagreements.
And nastiness does not belong
It does
in
not.
a marriage.
Our disagreements are not intelligent.
Yes, they are.
Sometimes.
Tanya's putting on face. No.
No.
But I feel like the music that you guys have been releasing this year, when I went back and listened to your first releases and to hear where you guys are at today, you can see, just even in the music and the lyrics, the strength in your relationship of where it's gotten to today. If you were to go back to 2014 Warren Treaty, would you give them any advice as to like what 2024 looks like?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're full of
Yeah.
words.
I sure would. I would go back and I would talk to Tanya. I wouldn't talk to Michael. I would talk to Tanya. I said, Tanya, get it together. Get it all the way together.
She's got
get
it together.
yourself together.
She's got it together.
No,
right.
she doesn't.
I
I would say, Tanya, it's hard work. You know it's hard work. You've been here before. Get it together.
Is it cool though, like now looking where you guys are at today, you're traveling all over the world, playing your music, fans are going crazy for it, and you get to tour with your family on the road. Like that has to make it just so much more extra special.
That was one of the things I told Michael if I was going to do this again, because I'd done music as a teenager,
yeah.
and in my early 20s I was like, if I'm going to do it again, I'm not leaving my son at home.
Yeah.
because it's not worth it.
No.
I mean, this is, at the end of the day, you don't want your kid looking at you saying, you've sacrificed all this and left me here.
Yeah.
And that's always a struggle. Like our son, he comes in and out with us, but he's 12 now. So we're 13 this weekend. And he wants to have his own friends and stuff like that. So the challenge for me inside is like, what do we do now? You know, he was homeschooled up until he's 12, but now he wants to have his own life. He's in soccer, and now we're at yet another transition. So as Michael talks about changing, not only do you change as a wife, but you change as a mother, and you change as a couple, and then you're changing as parents. And that sometimes can be the collapse of a marriage, because people have different ways of parenting.
Right.
People have different ways of, should I leave my kid at home? Should I, you know, we all carry our own level of guilt parenting or whatever the case may be, but it's coming together for us to say what's best for the child and what's best for our family. So having our family, our son, our daughter, our older kids who are watching and, you know, and critiquing from the sidelines, it's amazing.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
I think also just understanding that it's a together thing when you're parenting. I think that's the hardest thing. But for me also, all joking aside, I would go back in 2014 and say to the War and Treaty, in 2024, you're going to be the face of a conversation that says we need to change or correct the country music industry. And that's not always going to be a good thing, a happy thing. I would tell Michael and Tanya that in Austin, Texas in 2024, when you go into your dressing room, there's going to be a cotton plant. And that cotton plant is sent there to remind you of the pain you've experienced in this country. Whether you experienced it personally or not, it's there to remind you that people that look like you were not welcomed here.
Yeah.
Because that's what just happened to us in Austin, Texas at Sips and Sounds Music Festival. We get into our dressing room and there's a cotton plant that was put in there. And what do you do with that, right?
Yeah.
You could talk about it, and you as I'm doing.
Yeah.
But also there's a responsibility there to say, and still I rise. And still I drive on, and still I believe that love is more powerful than hate, regardless.
Absolutely.
And I am magnetizing and calling the lovers forward to be louder with what we will not accept, what's unacceptable, to be louder to say that, you know, we stand against hate. And you got to be louder, especially in this day and age. In this day and age where it feels like it's cool to be nasty, it's cool to be rude, it's cool to be so childish and so nitpickish, and it's cool to sit behind a computer screen and spew out hatred, even if you don't really believe it. You're just doing it to be different. That's not cool.
No,
that's not cool at all.
It's not cool. And I think just speaking to you, speaking about it and how important it is to talk about it is, you know, a big reason why the CCMAs, I remember last year, they were just so excited and honored to be able to have you guys come and do that panel, because there is so much about that conversation that people haven't even tapped into yet. And to have you guys sitting there for almost an hour, I think, and really diving into how important Black country artists are, because this is where it started.
Yeah, it did.
It did.
And John Lewis, you know, Good Trouble, we were able to walk with him his last walk through the Edmund Pettus Bridge. And one thing, the mantle that he left is a mantle of love. He was cracking his head with a brick. We just have a cotton plant in our room, you know.
Yeah.
But he still said, let's walk in love. And I think that's the message. The message is what Michael said. Acknowledge that it happened, acknowledge that it's there, but you ask the people to activate that are about love and that are about the message and the mantle of what John Lewis was all about. Was about love.
But don't just say, don't ever say we just had a. See, the thing is, he too picked cotton. It started for him with that, and again, there's some education that needs to be done abroad so that people won't make statements like that, but really understand, that a brick and a bullet is no different than a cotton plant. We all that look like us in certain parts of our world, a cotton plant and a brick is no different than a Nazi sign for a Jew. A brick and a cotton plant is no different than telling a woman what she can and can't do with her body, or telling someone who they can and cannot be in love with. I think that it's important that we understand an attack when it happens. And, I'm grateful that we have leaders like John Lewis who, yes, he walked in love. Yes, he spoke about love. But there's a reason we have the term good trouble.
That's right.
That last part is called trouble.
Yeah.
And there's trouble in the waters.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And you speak on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're so fortunate to have the two of you in the country music world, because these are conversations I think that we've needed to have for so long. And I'm honored to get to have them with you guys.
Thank you.
I also, speaking on just that topic and, being yourself in the country music world and speaking your truth, one of my favorite new songs of yours right now is actually with Wilder Woods.
Oh,
because
I love that song.
I love the message of that song.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one that I've always been a fan of. Obviously, Need to Breathe is his band as well. But how important is it to you guys when you are putting out music, because you're both incredible writers, writing the songs that you release for yourself to speak your truth? I'm sure you've heard songs that have been pitched to you that you thought, well, that kind of sounds like us. But is it important to you guys to be the writers on the songs you put out?
Well, Michael is the premier writer. He's written most of our records. I co-wrote on 2 songs for my last record. Yeah. And, for the future, I think it's important as a woman. I think it's important for our band, for people to hear the other side of how I write, as a woman. But Michael has been the premier writer for us and telling the story of us. And I felt comfortable in that. And the songs have spoken to me as an artist, for me to be able to interpret a song. I mean, I'm sure I Will Always Love You would have been a wonderful song if Patti LaBelle sung it, but the interpreter of it was Whitney Houston at the Soul of 100 Million Records. So I think the interpretation of a song has a lot to do with the lyric of a song. And I'm just happy to be able to interpret the songs that Michael gives and have the fans connect to the interpretation.
I think to answer your question, it is important for other writers. But when it comes to the War and Treaty, I think it's very important to understand that we do a very specific thing.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Tanya and I singing Last Night by Morgan. I can't see us singing that. Not because it's an awesome song, we all know that, but it is very specific to him.
Right.
Versus the War and Treaty, we have a very specific sound in our vocal, same as Chris Stapleton, and it's what makes an artist so special when you realize that there's a thing, and Tanya speaks about her writing process, and it isn't by choice. It is more so by our actuality or reality that there is really, when you write and work with the War and Treaty, you have to give it everything. It's a weird process. It's a stressful process, because you recognize that what's tied to the song is not just a hit record. It's not just a song. It's someone's life tied to that. Right. And I would say 90% of our songs are written really about Tanya, and the love and the grace and the elegance and the beauty that she has been able to bring to my life. We joke about this, but Tanya's never in her life written me a song. No. So it's so like I
interpret the hell out of it.
That's what we're gonna manifest.
War and Treaty has never had a song that is based on Michael, and so I'm sitting here like, how the heck did that happen?
Love Is Made. I did write the second verse to that. So that was
which was about herself.
Which was about
once
me,
again. Once again. Here's why we're the War and Treaty. No, but also speaking back to Wilder, that song is deep, because he says, show me where your darkness hides. Like, oh, you can be yourself. But I encourage a lot of people to go and watch the music video as well. because you know all it is me and Tanya's just dancing and having a good time, and but really we're just being ourselves. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much,
Thank
the War and
you.
Treaty, for joining us. We're going to manifest Tanya
Everything.
to write a song for Michael this year.
Let's do it.
Let's go. Make sure you guys go check out their music and out on tour. The War and Treaty on Pure Country.